Hi everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea on Marriage, where real couples talk about real marriages and make real mistakes with tongue twisters. I'm Kavan Allen, and this is my beautiful wife, Keisha Allen, and we are on a mission to make marriage great again. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are joined with very, very special guests and dear friends, Livingston and Jubilee Service. You'll hear more about them as we discuss on the topic starting young. And if you hear my children in the background, you see why you must have children young because they don't have no energy. Keep up with them after. But starting young, and we have an amazing discussion to have. But before we go into all of that jazz, let us first have a word from our sponsor.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
So, of course, Spill the Tea is brought to you by House of Clay, the luxury bridal fashion house, a Jamaican luxury bridal fashion house. So if you know anybody who is looking for a dress, you don't want to look like anybody else, or you just want to find your perfect fit, send them over to houseofclaydamaica.com. You can find us on Instagram and all socials at House of Clay JA, because you deserve to be the most beautiful woman in the world. And Spill the Tea is also brought to you by Kenny Allen. Welcome the kids. Who does the streaming to all the fancy stuff that you're seeing on the screen. He's responsible, except for the children and us.
All right.
So, yeah. So we just want to tell you a little bit about our guest so that you will get to know a little bit more. Of course, you don't want to miss it. If you know anybody who is wondering if they should get married young or wants a little help navigating marriage in general, it doesn't have to be getting married young. I think because we got married young and we have so many years under our belt, there's a lot that we have to offer. So tell them to come over to the live and hear a lot more about what we have in store.
So with us this week, we have our children, clearly. And we have Jubilee and Livingston Service. Now, they are Christians, they are pastors, they are just amazing people. Jubilee and I have stories from way back. But no, they are also parents of 3 children, Truth, Jotham, and Malachi. So that's Truth is 6, Jotham is 4, and Malachi is 2. And you know, so these parents serious on them say almost 3. All right?
Yes.
Livingston is a sous chef. That's sous chef. 5-star. 7. There you go. And Jubilee is a medical doctor. They have been married now for 9
years.
9 years.
Yeah.
For 9 years. And I feel like they are the perfect couple to help us navigate this question. So, guys, welcome to Spill the Tea. I need to hurry up and mute my mic so I can run my children without people think I'm child abuser. So, how I'll hand over to you so I can mute my mic is what's in your cup.
What's in my cup? Filtered water.
Yes, what are you drinking?
Filtered water.
Oh, praise the Lord. Same thing. You guys are a water couple. It's like that's the okay, I get you.
That's what we were going to drink until my husband insisted that he wanted something else.
Yeah, and my wife never gives me ask for completely, but because the Lord
I gave you what you asked for.
I don't know what I'm drinking, guys. I know I asked for lemonade.
That's risky. That's risky behavior.
Right, big up Essentials by Tal. on Instagram for our podcast.
Nice.
Spill the tea, I'm hobby. Yeah. I asked my wife said, Cover, what do you want? This is a funny story. She says, what you want? And then I said, oh, I wanted lemonade. Then she come back again and ask me what I want. She say, you want coffee? You want me? She lists like 5 things except lemonade. So I said, I want lemonade still. So anyway, she mixed lemonade. And this have something else in there, and she refused to tell me. This is not just lime.
Ice in there.
No, this is not just lime juice and sugar and ice and water. Something else in there. I just don't know.
Yeah? Let the spirit lead you. You figure it out.
Something else in there, and she refused to tell me. She
You
refused.
like it?
Yeah, nice.
That's all that matters.
I don't know what I'm drinking, guys.
He's drinking lemonade, and I'm drinking. I'm drinking coffee. I don't usually drink coffee, but yeah, today I decided to go with coffee, and I added vanilla and cinnamon to it. So,
All right, guys. So, Jubilee, I want to start with. Let's just start with you since you're here with us. You guys been married for 9 years. How old were you when you guys got married?
All right. So I was 20. My son was 22. Yes. So those were the ages. We were quite young. We got engaged when I was 19. He was 21. And then we got married a year later.
Wow. And yeah. So before I go to how your parents were, how did you? Because I remember you were in school. You were still in medical school.
Yep.
And Livingston, I believe, was working, but and I don't even think he started fully into all this greatness that he does.
Right. At the time, he was really starting out his career. You know, he had completed a course at UTech and was kind of just building his professional career.
yeah.
So, you know, he was, as we'd say, was at the bottom of the ladder at the time, you know? And so there were naysayers, of course, because with him just starting out in his career, I was in school. Of course, money is going to be this big,
Yeah.
or you're going to manage yourself. And, you know, you're too young, wait till you're a little older. We got all of that. If I'm being honest, though, I think I was shielded from it somewhat because I'm not the type of person that like to mix up. So if you and I are not sharing the same kind of vision and you don't understand how I'm living my life, you're really not going to have that opportunity to speak into my life. You're just not gonna have that opportunity. So for the most part, people who were close to me, when they realized that we were serious, they just gave us their blessings and we moved on with our lives.
Nice.
No, you know, there's so much there. I have a question coming up, but I'm going to make Keisha ask you before.
No, it's fine.
No, I don't want to ask because it is an important question. I kind of touch it a
The
little bit.
same one?
Yeah, but before you go there, talk God truth. Anybody kind of little free? Like, what you like, I love this person. I love to hear Livy when he comes back to share. How we're going to live? Especially like in school. I think for me, it's one thing to say, me will burn my belly. We'll eat bread and butter from each other, you know. But how did you navigate in your mind the whole idea of how we're going to survive? I have to go to school, whatever. Did that come up? Did that fear something you had to answer for yourself, each of you?
Go ahead and answer because I just answered the question.
Oh, all right. So it's turn by turn. Well, at the time she was going to school, I was working. You know, really I get much, but bless God. I think majority of most of my salary went there for bus and lunch money and then because something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think the more expensive stuff came from like her mom.
Yeah.
And so I just took care of the basic flat rate needs. And things that I can't reach, must leave it alone and leave it for God.
Exactly, right?
If you're not a good mother, then
Yeah.
you're young, you have money, Yeah, we have room for
You've got
that.
good mother-in-law.
No, I love that. And that segues into the question that Keisha will ask.
Yeah, I mean, I know we got married young too, especially Kavan.
What that mean?
What?
And a big part of getting married young is having the support of your parents. But most of the times, parents are very nervous when you decide that you want to take the plunge that young. What was that like for you guys when you told them that you wanted to get married?
For me, for us, I think the advantage we had was that having been taught the word of God, we were very clear that the Lord needed to speak.
Yeah.
And so very early out, when he said he liked me and I said I said I liked him, the first place we each went to was a leader in the church and said, pray for me, I like this person. And we really didn't want to get caught up in the lust because you're a teenage, I was late teen, I was at 19, he was early, he's still very young. And it's easy to get swayed by your lustful desires. And I'm not trying to over spiritualize it, but I do think that a lot of times when couples encounter certain issues in their marriage, it's because they never set the first step right. You never ask God about that one, all right? And so from there, when he prayed and I prayed, which there's so much backstory to that in terms of him having multiple dreams before we even came together, would see me, had dreams with me in his house, and he said he used to wonder what you are doing in my house. My father had died probably 2-3 years before, and she says her words to me were, your father and I discussed this before he died, and when I mentioned Livingston's name to him, he was comfortable with the idea, and so I'm comfortable with the idea. And I was just like, thank you, God.
Are you joking?
Parents, I said, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. So for her, it was more a matter of, okay, when are you, we took that. So, and then when we got into it, she was very supportive. Really and truly, my mother was 100% supportive. A lot of people said, no, I'm not married nobody. Well, we live there and God used it as 6 years and and we're just getting ourselves together, and then we moved out officially. We're financially independent for a while, but there were so many benefits from just being in her space. She's a pastor, as you guys would know. So there were many benefits of being in her space. She wasn't the type to say, me here not cuss, where you cuss about. Nah. I'm lying here and deaf. That was my mother. She no business. Just make sure she don't hear nobody are dead, right?
Exactly.
Now, one space, and and so I really have to give the Lord thanks for that.
Yeah.
You guys, you touch on so many things that just loaded, right? First of all, guys, I've known Jubilee first, and I know Livingston as well. They don't know how to cuss, so that's all right. They don't cuss. They are just, in fact, when I met Jubilee, she was like, don't worry, Livingston. I'll tell her the lies for you. Juby was somebody I look up to in the faith. I know she loved God, and she was very expressive and obedient and diligent. And I think that helps. And not that I'm not putting a wholesale stamp. You have to be a Christian to get married early. But I do think when you grow up with certain values and mindset that comes naturally from the Christian faith, it helps you to be ready to make such a serious lifetime commitment. So I don't know. I kind of wanted to just look at that because for me, I don't know if Keisha said it when I stepped away, but for me, we got married very early. I was 22. I think we got engaged when I was
21.
20.
20.
How far you go?
No.
21. But
No.
20.
Were you 22?
Yes, I was.
Oh,
Anyways, yeah, I was.
You know, you're
21.
experts when you have to back check it out.
Yeah, we got married at 22. I was 22. Keisha was 25. The day after her 25th birthday.
Yeah.
And just to not believe me and Juby close, she played a role in our wedding. We played a role in their wedding. So we did get married at 22, and I think I was very naive. But I lie to you. I think maybe if I was not as naive, I'd have been more afraid, but I wasn't afraid. I just thought it would work out. Everything would come together well. Everything would be fine.
Yep.
I had no true.
We had so much faith. We're like,
yeah. I had no true concept of some of the things that true. It's just reality. You need to know. But what we had a true concept and appreciation for was love and commitment and trust, faith in God, faithfulness. And I think a lot of this comes out of because of our Christian faith. And how much you think that helped you guys in feeling like I can make this step at 20, when I'm sure you'd have heard people talk about, no, I've heard people say 30 because nobody really know themselves before 30, 35. I've heard all these things. And was that helpful?
I asked Livingston he wanted to go, so he said, "Me must go," so I'm gonna answer. One of the things I've come to appreciate with the Word of God is when it says you must have transformation in the mind, it goes way beyond the fornication and how you dress. And so even when it comes on to marriage, a lot of Christians are guided by what happened in them past, what the generational curses, what the world is saying. And I really think that we have to have God's perspective on marriage. If God has put you together with the person that he says is your partner, then you have to walk in faith. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be foolproof. That doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. But what it means is that God will be there with you in spite of and despite every and anything.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I hear Focus on the Family. They said something, and funny enough, somebody reminded me of it this week, where they said, you know what, marriage is really not for your happiness. Marriage is to make you more Christ-like. And I think if we can have that vision, and I'm not saying marriage is, you must be happy in your marriage, you must be happy. You can't come home every day and your spirit in content, in torment. But if we can understand that, all right, God has a purpose for having this person in my life, and I have a spiritual role to play in their life, it makes it much easier, because no, you're not selfish in saying, me must be happy, me must this, me must that. But you're saying, okay, God, I see this weakness in this person. What role do you want me to play in helping them to be more like you? But when we go before God, we're going to be soul. You're not going to be man and wife, you're going to be soul. Right? So that I think for me, even in the times when, I've said, boy, God, this rough, God, marriage thing rough. There have been those days I said, this thing serious. It's like God remind me, say, look here, remember I gave you my word that this is what I wanted for you. And I'm also giving you the grace to go through these very hard times or difficult periods that you have had.
Yeah. So for me, it's like a quick thing. For me, it was like, my friends never told her the idea. I mean, you grew up amongst your peers and everything. I was like a big challenge because at that time I was just 20, 21. So everybody say, really, I got settle down youth with one woman right now. When all your things there for burn up and thing, and you have to do road and do all that, the whole saying and everything. And so it was like a big mockery, and it was like a time frame. I give you around 2 years for call it a day, because we know you're not serve, we know you're not live it. You know, you used to stay at school and thing, and you really just make this change. But at the time, we're following the word of the Lord. So, we have to just do the right thing. At that time, I was straight do the right thing. In a sense, I go shock up all over the place, and then when I'm done and everything, they must second down. I did the right thing. My parents got married, and so that was a big big thing for me. So I wanted to follow my father's footsteps to get married and everything. So it was always a plan from a long time. But as you went along, you get influenced by friends and everything and say, yo, married off a soft people, soft man alone get married. Man no married. And all these things. Worse, because I was so young. So I even remember a gentleman came to me and asked me, so yo, you really get married at this age? You're sure? Touch road, go asylum, go quad it, party out yourself yet. You really go settle down at this age. And I look to him with a seriousness and say, yes, this is what I want to do. And so once you obey the Lord and follow his will and everything, once you're in the will of God, then you're good.
Yes, that is so true. I mean, from ever since I met Jubilee first, before I met Livingston. But one of the things that stood out to me about her, other than her faith, is just how mature she was.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I was always a teenager that hung out with the older people. I thought about like 50-year-olds and there was always this mindset. It's like you think way beyond your years. And I found that, and as you know, Kavan was younger than me, but I always tell people when they ask, I'm like, age is not an issue. When the person you're marrying has a level of maturity. And I felt like when I met him, his mindset and his level of maturity was had surpassed the guys in my age and the older guys that I was around. So people make marriage about the age thing, and there are so many thoughts around it and what age you should. And as Kavan mentioned earlier, people are saying you don't know yourself until you're 30. Question: do you think that the fact that there was a level of maturity beyond what most people our age probably not thinking along those lines, maybe they want to experience certain things more, do you think that has a big impact, or that determines just how well you can navigate marriage at a young age versus waiting until you're older? Should people assess where they are in terms of just your mindset and maturity to decide whether or not you're ready for? Obviously, everybody has to do an assessment. Yeah, but it just dawned on me. I was wondering, what is it that makes some marriages work at a young age while some don't? And some people get married at 30 and still not able to navigate it. So obviously it's not about age. So yeah, just your thoughts on that.
Definitely. You want to go?
Well, there's a saying that we grew up on. Real man get married. You understand? Once real man get married, and that message stuck with me from camp days coming up. You have to have a make-up mind, and you have to be mature, because if you're not mature, then I don't think it takes a little of maturity to do what needs to be done.
True.
Because it's very easy for a man and a woman to get intimate and whatever, but it takes a real made-up mind and a commitment and a maturity to stand up before everybody and say, okay, this is my wife, this is my husband. I am now legally bound with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so it takes that level of maturity that you have to have. But if you're not mature, then marriage is not for you, because it takes mature people. Because the thing that most persons are afraid of in marriage is the commitment part of it. When you're in a relationship with somebody else, you can easily just leave when you want to. Get up and just leave. But when you're married, it's a different thing. You can't get up and leave like that. You have to work out the issues. There will be times when you argue and cuss, You're not gonna like him this morning, you're not gonna like she the next morning. Sometimes you don't want to see the somebody or see the person. But you have to be mature and say, okay, this is my wife, this is my husband. I'm committed to this person before man and before God. It has to work. I don't believe in divorce. I
Right.
don't believe in getting married and then 15 years. Then after so many years spent with each other, having children, building a family, building a home, means get up and leave, so,
Hmm.
and then start over from scratch. So
Mhm.
so I don't believe in that. So whatever issues, you work it out, but it takes a level of maturity to say I do. We
Wow.
might get married, you know.
Yeah.
Takes a level of maturity to say I do. I love that. I think that is great. I want to thank everybody who is tuned in. Thank you for coming on. Again, we are talking about starting young. So if you know someone who wants to get married, but them feel like, don't know, am I too young? Should I be able to? I just somebody who love discussions around marriage. Please share the link with them. Also, I will say all the comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody saying hello. So nice to have you. Abigail Parag says character is important. Tamika Mitchell says a certain level of maturity is definitely a plus. And so also Jubilee, Shanna Lee Finnegan says that I'm a girl, love your jobs. See, I get big up in the place. So yes, character is so important, and I think these are the things. Yeah, Abby says character is important. These are the things that you judge someone by. I think we have culture says wait till they get house and care, and I mean there's some wisdom in it, especially as some you need somewhere to live, you need all of that. Yeah, but that is not the thing that defines your readiness. It is something good to get if you're single and you can go and get these things, it will make so much stuff easier for you.
It can be dangerous to fixate on that because
You-
a lot of times people who decide that they have to get that first when they get married, it becomes a problem of who it belongs to and who did what. And it doesn't always happen that way, but I mean, yeah, we just have to be careful not to make it about.
And that is the mindset. And I don't even think it's about the thing itself. I think it's about the mindset of how you deal with your finances. How you deal. The reality is, if me and Keisha did that talk about who I belong to who when we get married, I mean, I really sewing machine alone we have when we get married. You know, that belongs to she. So, can take your machine them. I don't want them. But we literally started out. You know, sometimes it sounds so surreal. I hear people say, people say these things. Sometimes you're like, what do you mean? You look on some celebrities, some testimonials, and if somebody said, I used like Tyler Perry said, I lived in my car. And you're like, there's no way this man so rich lived in his car and no. So, well, guys, when we got married, as Chris said, we had a bed. Just so that we can add more things. Let us talk about the sheet as well. We had a bed, we had a sheet.
That wasn't for the size bed that we had.
That wasn't for the size bed. It was a bigger sheet. We had a curtain. We had a table that was used to eat on and also to cut fabric.
Yes. So we had a dining table that I used as my cutting table.
Yeah.
And I would spread the tablecloth over it.
When we're eating,
and then I took it off and did my work after that.
And we had a sewing machine.
Yeah. And then we go buy a 2-burner.
Yeah, that was it at first. And an igloo. I tell them have at first. An igloo. I will put ice down igloo and things in the igloo so you can keep cool. then shortly after marriage, we go get a 2-burner stove.
Yeah.
And when I forget my gas, my nice mother gave me a gas so we can trade it in. A cylinder. Thank you, baby. See, she keeps me speaking proper English. I'm taught clearly. A gas cylinder. And we traded. I'm just giving you guys just the reality of where we started, and we did not feel like something was wrong. You couldn't tell me something was wrong. We were so happy. I remember getting the gas cylinder and had to go back because we never know you must get a regulator too. And then we get the regulator, and they said something don't look right. Oh, you need a hose. Oh. So we went back and got the hose. And then something now happen, something now connect. Oh, you need a clip. to clip the clam. Listen, you guys know. Now I'm an expert in getting stove. When people come in, I can say, yo, make sure you get your holes, and the clip, the clamp, But that's what we did, and I got a fridge probably in the same month as well. So it was for us that never limited our joy. It never limited the quality of our marriage. We didn't have TV, we never have, but we were so extremely happy. And we were committed. And so I just going through all that because a lot of the things that people tell you that you need to get married, it's not true. And that's why they out because you live with your parents, you live with that it's out. And I think that's what you judge somebody by, and then you can trust God and trust the rest of God falls in.
Billy, did you want to say something on the whole issue of maturity?
100% that maturity, I do believe to have a mature outlook on life. As Livingston said, when him say don't believe in divorce, meaning we're not setting out to split, right. We're setting out to stay. And so it means then that you're putting up with all of the possibilities, everything that you think could possibly happen. And I'm not dealing with cases where you're being abused in any form or the person is unfaithful. I'm not dealing with that. I'm just dealing with being able to go through the times when it's hard, the times when you're frustrated, the times when the person doesn't meet your expectation. You really have to be able to see that and embrace it and step into it. And I know a number of younger persons that I've had to interface with, and they just can't see how they would get married now at like 24, 25. And for me, I'm like, oh, I've been doing that though. I've been doing that. So, but I understand. And the truth is, because both of us grew up in homes where parents were married, it also helped us to have a different view on marriage. And I completely understand all of that. So yeah, I do agree. You have to be mature if you're going to take it on young or old. You have 30-year-old people with them don't reach the emotional age of 30. They need to be mature.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I was thinking as first when Livingston was talking, and then you guys touched on some things that made me think about the whole issue of emotional intelligence. Because when you are able to see every side of a person, you have to be able to see that and still know or put into perspective the fact that the person you married is not what they said just now, or you get what I'm saying? And sometimes you can't just decide that the whole world is coming to an end or the marriage is you have to be able to start something, you understand still in terms of a disagreement. And how do you handle that? Does it change how you interact with the person, or how you even see them after today? Because that is a very important part of ensuring that your marriage stays a certain way and that there is mutual respect.
And I think that's very important too, that no matter what age you are, that you have mutual respect. And that was true for us, and I know that was true for you guys, because you guys really respected each other. You guys working together from a ministry standpoint and had that type of respect for each other. And I think that's one thing that is lacking in a lot of marriages. As I said, no matter the age, I don't I like my spouse, but I don't really think them all. I think you need to think that your spouse is all that. Like, this is somebody who I'll take correction from because I respect them. This is somebody when I vex with them, because you know when you have respect for somebody, when you're upset, like a mentor do you something, but you're not gonna tell them about their mother, you know, because you respect them, right? Just be like, so you know, I wanted to talk to you about the other day. You know, I hope you understand what I've said, because just the respect that you have. It's not even fear. It's just that you have this respect. And I think a lot of marriage like that, we just feel like, yo, anything come to mind, anything you want to say, I don't care how you feel, I don't care how you take it. You just hold them there. And if you vex, I'm going. I think that's something that happens because we don't have that mutual respect going in.
But what about those who start out with a mutual respect and then, as Jubilee says, sometimes person live up to your expectation. But if you're short-sighted or if you're just focused on what is happening, you're going to feel like this is the person, but that's not the person. That's just a side of them, and everybody has, you know, a little side. And sometimes these things are blind spots, and we are there in each other's lives to help. But you know,
yeah, I think too, when you have mutual respect, if I do something and Keisha say, yo, you know, whatever, if I even let you down and break respect or break trust, I think because I respect you so much, I want to fix that. So it helps even in times of broken trust and shortcomings. And when me not rate you, I'll be like, yo, yeah, but like me not really care what you have to say, you know. So I think even it gives, you can trust that this person will make it's easier to mend broken areas in relationships. And that's, I think, is a true missing key for many relationships. And we had that. I was in awe of who she was. I mean, when I met her, I thought she was brilliant. First of all, I said she don't want to look at you because you understand she was a little older than me. Not that she look it, but so me never have my mind. And then she loves God. She was a brilliant thinker, very creative, very hardworking, committed, and I respected those things about her. I just respected, so it was just so easy to get married to her. I mean, me just get her come. We never really bring much more.
That's so not true.
But yeah, I just think that's an important piece.
No man.
This was the next thing. Unless you guys want to chime in on that before I jump to the. Okay, this is because you talked about and Livy said it too, having a supportive in-law. I think there are two sides to this. I think one, when you get married, you're going to need support.
Sure.
If you think that you're going to do it by yourself, brother, don't get married. Because when you get married,
don't burn bridges. That's a part of maturity. How you handle the people around you. Because you will have a lot of challenges in handling the people around you.
Yeah, it's a adjustment. You'll have you really don't burn bridges. And how do you guys handle that? Because even people who love you and are kind to you, don't have to be your mom. You talk about your mom alone, you guys too. Like you don't even know if she hear you. But she probably hear you and go pray. But she not make no wise. Right? What's your advice to somebody in terms of managing family and friends, that it don't come to a place where they hold you hostage to their opinion, but at the same time, we're going to need community, we're going to need support. And you're not trying to just like be leeches, like, oh, many people give me this and give me that, like that, but you just need encouragement. You need people to. I've never paid bills consistently before. I've never, if I had a query, I needed someone to say like, yo, this is how you handle a query with your water bill. This is, it sounds kind of crazy. I never had a landlord before. I needed advice. Things to look for.
In terms of signing,
signing stuff and whatever. A lot of this, yeah, there's a lot of things that you can really overcome with community, even with other married couples, which you probably, if you get married young, we need older people around you if you blaze guns against older people who don't understand young people, don't whatever. And yes, some of them may say things and do things that are offensive, but at the same time, how do you not burn the bridges? So what's your advice to somebody getting married and how they deal with their own parents who don't want them get married because they think them young and careless and just one man and one woman figure have sex. So therefore, them don't unite. But how do you still keep the relationship going knowing I'm going to need you no matter what as I make this progression? So the question long, make sense of it.
Okay. While as you were asking the question, I think the word that came to my mind was boundaries. Every relationship has its limits, and the limits will change depending on the stage of your life. And so at the point where you're getting married, you have to be a legal adult. All right? It is best when your parents are on your side getting married. But let's say that you are a Christian couple, you really believe this is the Lord's will, your parents don't know the Lord, and they are totally against it. Then it means that you and God are going to have to work that through. You're going to have to take a step in faith, still honoring your parents, and helping them to understand there's a boundary here now. I am going to make this decision. I respect your opinion, but I have to make this decision. Even for older people who you might find annoying or they have certain tendencies that are hurtful, you know you have to deal with them. You're going to have to come to a place where, you can't always go tell them, say, you wrong, you do this, and you have to change that. You can't do that with the older people by telling them something. You have to deal with yourself first. You can't make it be a trigger. You have to make it now become a non-trigger. Because behind all of that trigger, there is something that you need, some advice, some wisdom, some guidance, some counseling. And then you allow them to play the role as far as they're willing to. You allow them to play that role in your life. That's what I would answer.
What she said.
And the thing, all this wisdom is coming from somebody under 30. Let's just put that out there. She's still young, not because she married for 9 years. No, it is so true, and I think it's one of the blessings that we miss out on. So, I look back at even when we got married, it was the mature people in our lives that gave us important gifts, which for the most part was money. It was
no shame. You were right. Yeah.
It was, and even people who they were worried because they are going to be worried. They know more than I did. In fact, it was probably after being married for probably 5 years, we start like, maybe we're just lucky because here's so much more. Even people that you thought were like good, like even you look up to, then you start realize, they might shaky, and you start wonder how we get by, without some of these issues. But when we got married, as I said, we were so naive to like what could happen, and I'm happy that I was because it would have scared you out of making the decision. And we just went for it with loving our the bright eyes, and I come to realize that it was good that though we had opposition, as best as we could, we never burnt any bridge, and it was necessary. Even if them never, even sometimes what I realized the criticism it never turned me off from getting married, but it made me more deliberate to get married. Mm-hmm. So when like my mother would be like, where you gonna put the people, girl? Pick me. Yeah. And so what did I do? I was deliberate in trying to find somewhere. And the funny thing is, the first place that we live, it just jumped in on my lap. I was getting a ride home from school. And the person carrying me home was carrying home somebody else. And then she said to the person, she dropped the person, she said in the car, come on, getting married and you're renting, you're upstairs at your place. You could rent him, that was it. And so that she dropped her home first. So that
never even finished.
It never finished it. So we were the first person lived there. She finished it up. I told her the date and she said, I'm going to work to get it ready for that date. So it even though it happened like that, it made me more because if you did follow me, it's like it will work out. We figure it out. We just love Keisha, it will work out. But I needed that type of thing. And there are a couple of other things that people, like for me, even learning what it means to be a man, I'm better able to articulate it because it came under question when I said I wanted to get married. You know, you're 22, you're a man, you're this, and I had to find out for myself. And so the criticism, yes, it never feel good, but it helped to make me stronger. So you have to embrace it and not burn the bridge and be like, yo, thank you for your input. It was helpful. You know, and I think that's where this generation, this is where our generation, I think, and those even younger than us, we just feel like, listen, this is not good for my mental health. Mental health. You know, let's just cut you out.
Listen, our generation is consumed with self. Everything is about self, right? From the selfish to everything else. Do you get rid of them? And half of the time, half of the people they want to get rid of. First of all, them not even think about them. They not talk about hater. Them don't remember them. Right? Right. And two, a lot of times people just really want to help. Yeah. And so if they can't see that, they don't think they can Google everything. The amount of wisdom that
Google have all the answers.
Google have all the answers. I mean, the amount of wisdom.
Google never lies.
You know, we got so much wisdom from our leaders coming up. And sometimes they weren't even directly talking to us, you know. You just hear them share their own testimonies from their marriage. Or you observe their behaviors and how they interact with each other. Because they're human. So you will see that like a husband do something and the wife upset, but you see her responding with Christ. And you say, all right, I'm going to take a leaf out of fear or a page out of fear. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so really and truly, we have to lose that prideful way of thinking. And one of the things that, if I get a couple in front of me, and when I ask them to share, they share extensively on all the problems with their partner and can't say, you know, I know that sometimes I do this and look inward. I know something is wrong.
Yeah.
Because right away, you think you are perfect and the person is the only problem. And if you're always perceiving the other party as the problem, you're going to run into issues. All of us have problems. Every single one of us have issues. Every single one of us rub our partner the wrong way sometimes.
Oh, listen, I love what you said about selfishness. We are so self-centered, and that's the real issue. That's the real problem.
Not just in our generation.
I think we glorify it more than the other ones. We glorify it a little more, but it is perpetual for true. And I think that is a key thing to find a partner that isn't self-seeking. And we have to teach people what to look for, you know, because people are looking for abs, you know. I mean, I had that then.
You still do that?
No. But about ab, no.
Ab.
Question though, people are still looking for abs in a day when they're tattooing on abs and putting in ab implants. We're still doing this?
We can tattoo on abs?
Yes, sir.
We talk off here.
Abs implants.
No, but we make it about something, but you need to find somebody who is self-seeking, and you need to be someone who isn't self-seeking.
Yeah, it works both ways. If one person just look out for themselves, it not gonna work.
And these are the things that you look for. And I know we're talking about married young, so I try to starting young. So and if you can have some of these qualities early, you will be able to can even fathom getting married, because you're kind of thinking, you know, you're at peace with somebody in your space. You're at peace with, you know, a lot of the things that make people like, we can't get married now. You know, Tamika Mitchell said, when I was at your age, I know I was not emotionally or spiritually ready for marriage. And you have to be self-aware. Mature emotionally or spiritually for marriage, yeah. And you have to be able to assess yourself and begin to get there. And I do think how you live your teenage life will help to get you
Oh,
to a level of emotional
Yes,
and
yes, that's
spiritual
a
maturity.
good point right there.
Yeah, and so it is something that's going to be very key. The choices you make, the, your dating choices, you got everybody, everything, what you feed yourself and how you're building yourself or not building yourself will define if you can even like be as crazy as Jubilee and get married at 20, you know? Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, help me. You know,
You know,
years later, one of my mother's friends booked her up, and when she found out I had been married, she said to my mother, I wish we were close to her at the time because we would have told her not to get married. She was
wow.
a mature Christian woman who had been married for some time. And to be honest, I think when mommy shared it with me, and in hindsight, she realized how serious that statement was. Because she's now basically claiming that she would have stopped it deliberately.
yeah, assuming the right to
Exactly.
swing.
You know, and it just goes to show you how you really have to guard your space. You know, you have to know what you're doing, because the devil will use certain things and certain people. And I wanted to add a thought. Something Kavan was saying earlier, you know, when you eat on the cutting table, the dressmaking table, and I don't know the right name, sorry. And you spread your tablecloth and you take it up. And you know, those are the growing pains. Just as how you have your babies, them have to teeth to get their teeth, and the teeth drop out and then drop and scrape them foot. And for me, a lot of the experiences I've had that I think has made Livingston and I stronger have been those growing pains. The happy moments, yes.
Yeah.
But it was there, and I'll share this one. I remember one night, we were low on funds. Me did hungry, me not lie, me did well hungry. I'm not hard to feed, okay?
Mhm.
Give me anything and I'm good. Then I go shop, and he bought something. Guys, my husband came back with the driest bull I've ever seen in my life. Listen, tell the story all the time. I say, when I say I get vexed, I forget everything about self-control. I forget everything. I say, I'm hungry like this, you can't bring me. You couldn't choose one good bull out of the shop.
You thought that counts. You're hungry, and the Bible says the man is the head of the household, and the breadwinner.
So you go buy a dry bull
You
out.
go buy a bulla.
Listen, man.
You know, shit. I mean, it is nice. I mean,
But
it take more saliva still, but you could have eaten.
guys, I shared that. I'm not, believe me, I'm not embellishing the story. That's exactly how it went. But coming away from that experience, I learned that he can't choose baked goods, and I needed more self-control. You get what I'm saying? So I wouldn't have learned that if I had a 3-course meal. That's what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
you have to learn the right lessons
I
from
love
the
it.
growing pains, because that's what makes us stronger, really. And a lot of people, the reason why they don't survive so well is that I don't know if you guys experience it, because I know you do counseling. A lot of young people in our relationship, if the person say them they on break. Every other week, them they on break.
The palm bread.
Yeah. So when you get married, what you gonna do?
I know marriages that are like,
What
I
you
know
gonna do?
marriages that are like,
The palm bread.
yeah.
Your
So
practice becomes perfect, and that's what we've been saying. It's like, if this is what you practice doing in relationships before marriage and when you're a teen, what you expect to do? Like, you are training yourself
Well,
to think a certain way and to act a certain way.
yeah, you know, Livingston, I believe it was Livingston mentioned about his parents getting married and setting as example. You know, I know your both your parents, Juby. So I think that helped. I never saw my father sleeping on the couch. I never saw my mother walk
I
out of the
never
house.
saw my parents argue.
You understand? We see my parents argue, but
I never saw my parents argue.
you can see who's the more argumentative one in this relationship.
Yeah. And
But it's so interesting though that wasn't like something on my mind. Like you walk out of the house, I never know you do that. You know, so when you start to hear some of these stories and you realize that we are really, if we don't grab it, reflection of our experiences. And if you don't grab a hold of it, sometimes you don't have any you don't have a say in what you experience sometimes. It just happens. But if you're not aware of it, you will replicate it, whether good or bad. And I'm happy that we had the examples that we had, because it helped me to know that that's not right. So if we vex, the coach wasn't an option.
No. Well, we never have no coach to begin
we never have no coach, it's true.
All the ground.
You see, so these are some of the positive parts of having not having too much furniture.
Yeah, man. Eliminate the options.
Walking out of the house and just disappearing was not a thing. And
can I confess though, guys? Can I confess? Confession good for your soul. I remember one day. I don't remember where him do, but why? Me did vex. Me take up myself. Or me walk out the house. If it's as if you ever. I'm choosing. I'm sorry. I read on the gate. I'm sorry, what me really do? Me that. I wheel my tail correct my killer. You know what? Livingston never ever said it to me.
So you pray, don't.
It's like nothing happened. Him not even look for me and say, hey. Him just say, look like him and say, hey, but you walk out the house. But I said that to say when you not broke yourself bad, because it wasn't me. It's just that you know what it happened to me that day. That it's not me, because I know that you don't get up and walk out of your house,
But if you follow through with that, it would have been easy to do it the next time and then the next time. Every time.
Yeah, man.
Agreed. Listen, we once again, I just want to, before we continue, thank everybody in the chat, everybody watching. We really do appreciate your support. And if you have any questions for us or the services, by the way, I don't know, God have a sense of humor. Livingston Service got married to Jubilee. This has been just, we can't name out everything. Jubilee is a pastor's child who live at church service. You can't make these things up. If you have a question for the services, please or a comment. We appreciate it. We would appreciate it. So yeah.
I was just thinking about is something that keeps just ringing in my head. Just to use the word bold. It's so when you get in,
I was
wanting the station and tell you what to do, because up from that you want to get married, everybody has an opinion.
Yep.
And some people feel like they hear from God better than you because, they are more spiritual and stuff like that. And I remember when we just started going on the journey, I remember Uncle Courtney was the one who reminded us about the story of the young prophet.
Mm.
And then when he was to come back, God said, don't go that way, go the other way. Season, came along and said, no, man, don't go that way. Trust me, go the other way. And he decided to follow the advice of that person. And in essence, met his demise. And So I want, and I know Jubilee, so we have to know who we're going to let in, whose advice we're going to take. And I mean, we've been talking about just how our faith has been a big part of just the decision and what we did and why we did it at the age that we did. And we had to trust that we had our relationship with God was just as potent and that we were hearing from him. So even when people that we respected and people who in their own right were oracles of God and people who heard from God for a living did not agree and decided that this wasn't the right step to make, we had to stand our ground. And it's not about being confrontational because we're not confrontational people, but we had to decide that, okay, I hear what you're saying, but we're keeping on, we're going to get married, and we did. And we've seen where God proved that, this was him and this was what he said. And a lot of things that people said would have happened did not, and stuff. And these are little things that you have to navigate. And I think it's good to not only set boundaries physically, but in your mind, and know who you're going to take advice from, and
which advice you're going to take.
And even the people that is on that list of people that you take advice from, you still have to know that ultimately it is what is God saying to you about your life and where you are at. So
no, that was well said. And let me tell you, you guys never understand. We're talking about some of the pluses and the ways, the things that you kind of look out for getting married young. But I tell you, there are some, don't say negative, is there a better word than negative? Anyways, there are some negatives. Can't find a better word to it as well. And one being, just because of the age, everybody going to feel them no better than you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's gonna feel it no better than you. I want you guys to think about some negatives.
They don't feel, they know they know better than you.
I'm going to, you guys can think of any.
Why you the baby like that?
So that's what I want to do.
Why you keep the baby at home? Why you make mosquito bite the baby like that? I put mosquito on the baby and make the baby get bite bitten. Like,
it's kind of crazy. I remember with Tehila, after a while, I said, Keisha, I'm not carrying Tehila on the road. If you're not coming with me, I am not going. Because I would literally, every step I take, somebody's telling me to do something else. Hold the baby this way. Okay. Yes. Next person. Why hold the baby like that? Hold the baby this way. Next person. Hold the baby that. I mean, and you're trying to be polite, and people, it's just hard.
Like complete stranger.
And remember, you is your first child, so it's not like you are ultra confident either, right? So it like no, we can't go through this.
Well, I was ultra confident.
Yeah, Keisha was ultra, and I wasn't.
I had some experience in the area.
So it was crazy for me. So I think that's one of the negatives that everybody in everything that you do. Secondly, more than likely that they get married young, you will be at your lowest income earning point at that age, at that point. And so if you even have money, more than likely you're going to go higher and go higher. That you probably will end up being more than at that point throughout your lifetime. And so you'll have to navigate that immediately in marriage. And so it's something to think about. The good thing about it though is that the reality is every millionaire that's not like inheritance or like a ball player or a Hollywood star. Yes, and it's not true. Yeah, you built your wealth, not true like Hollywood. Not nothing wrong with that, but I'm saying those things have a very high income payment rate. So you play basketball, you get $1 billion contract first year. But if that's not the route you take, all of them got married. Were married. got married early. And I remember I did a program with Red Stripe, an entrepreneurship program, and the head of Red Stripe then was just being promoted to the regional Red Stripe in the region to run the regional, Diageo brand regionally. I did a presentation there, and he met me and he says, "Yo, you're on the right path." And one of the reasons, because in the presentation, you big up your wife and your daughter. She had a baby in her hand, And he said, "I realize you're already married, and that tells me you're going to be successful." He said, "Just beg you do one thing." I said, "What's that?" "Don't divorce, because then everything you build will split in half." But I don't think people realize that two heads are better than one. And the Bible tells you two is better than one. The Bible tells you clearly, and because you are doing life not by yourself, but with somebody else, and if you're actually communicating, working together, and then you have another why. Like if I did me one, I would have just don't bother, but I have another why. I have an accountability person. I have somebody else that, listen, we make this plan, and they're going to be like, "Oh, say not just that alone." So how come you say that at that time? They're not never become combative. Just to tell you, and that is a big push. So, and even though you may be at your lowest income earning point initially, also know you probably build quicker to get. That is possible. You have this proverb, and we use it in our coaching program where we coach premarital and married couples. This African proverb that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think it is really the great summary of what the power of marriage. That you can really go so much further together than you can on your own. Even if you go a little slowly at first. So I just wanted to join in. Can you guys think of anything, any negatives and positives that come with getting married young?
One positive from my side. I escape a lot of things. I mean, my wife, she grew up in the church, so she more holy than me.
Not true. That's not true.
More sanctified and blood washed, Holy Ghost filled and tongue speaking and robo shakakaka. More than me. Amen. But me grew up in, not say the ghetto, but I grew up in the streets. So not say street, but I grew up all the influences around me. From weed, from guns, all the woman, you name it, the works. Bleach at night time on corner, all of ends. So me getting married at this age, and also it saved me through my 20s coming up to be destroyed by the devil. So maybe if we never get married now, maybe I might have 5 to 6 different baby mother. My life might be just, I don't know where I would have been, you understand? And it played an important role because, I got a lot of support from the church. I got a lot of support from members. I got a lot of support. So there's always people around me once I got married at that age to guide me, to put me on the right path and stay on the right path. So that's just one. Having good counsel around you to help you go through, save me from doing what I don't want to do. Because one of the things that kind of help me to, as I said before, then we say my chest is high, out of all of the girls in the church, I choose to go for the pastor that. Now, they say my chest high, but I don't say I like the best out of the best.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I not go for no less. I got more big food, and so it's so so one, so when you go for that caliber worth of person, you have to come strong, you have to come good.
Yeah.
And say the least thing you do, you know, say you have to watch what you're doing, and then God orchestrated someone that we got married and have to live in your house as the pastor. So me now with my little self now, naive and young and full of kind of sitting. No, me have to change. I was forced to change. So like sometimes you pray and fast and God deliver you. It was forced to change. I have to change. Because say right next to the other wall. Yeah. You understand me? You don't have to come knock and say, Livingston, you have a word there. I sense that the Lord say you must so and so. So it was really that for me helped me and helped me being grounded to this day. That 6 years was also a blessing, even though it was right there. So I mean, God just orchestrated, The only disadvantage, as I said earlier, getting married young, is that wait. What the word I say now, you never really fully do what you want to do then. So you have to start sacrificing. So if you want to get up and go watch a movie, you have to ask, don't you go watch a movie? No, you can't. You are good.
No. They go and go watch a movie. Which one you want us to watch?
Right. So like. So
what was that?
So it's not like we can say, yo.
So what I know, I'm everybody convert. Yeah,
help me out there, bro.
We can watch so on the Pink Dress movie Tuesday, but Sunday we didn't want to watch.
Yeah. Right. So it's no sacrifice. So
right.
Like you come home and you're hungry. You understand? And you buy one a nice large box food, man. Chicken smell good and nice, You know what I talk about, one.
Yeah.
And you want to brush it by yourself.
Just eat at the car.
You never have car them time.
Right?
I'm joking.
Your office, all right, then I have to carry on some, I have to eat some. Exactly. Sometimes I get the biggest piece of the meat, I eat the rice part. You understand me? I say?
Let me tell you. I have a nice wife, I have a nice wife. So when I touch it, I just bring it and say, yo, baby, you take, because she going to take the smallest piece, And then she'll come and say, hey, you can't take the big piece. You can't take the big piece. Then she going to say, no, I never eat so much. You eat. All right, baby, all right. But what if we're going to eat the small piece first? Somebody just make sure that she take first. I remember, I think one time you take the biggest one time. Really shocked. I was so disappointed. But yeah, that's what I mean working. I don't need to eat the leg. I will leave the breast or so. I don't know how it go. So me can bring it to she first. I make she choose.
The problem is you just don't share. That's that time thing, It want me share all the time because it's not fair.
Because if me share and me take the biggest piece, we look mean.
Yeah.
So you make this, you share.
Oh my God. Oh Lord help me.
Right. So that was.
I was thinking, Mel or Moni. You said you were force-fed. You're force-fed.
Force-fed.
Is it not a meme? It's a meme. I don't know.
Force-fed.
You were force-fed. I wasn't willingly.
And she
wittingly. But yeah.
One of the negatives that I do see, and this is if you don't understand what you're doing, one of the negatives I see with getting married young is that very often you can lose who you are as an individual. And quite often that becomes the source of contention later in the marriage. Because you were connected to this person and you were doing everything together, you didn't take the time to know you and really understand how, do I really like the bigger part of the chicken? You know what I mean? And you always felt like you had to give the smaller part, and you just build up that resentment. There's just this resentment. You didn't want to watch this movie, and you make me watch that movie because you like the movie there. And if you weren't bold enough to say, boy, baby, I don't really like that movie there. It's alright. You go and go watch it. Me not have
Like,
to watch it with you. It's very
no.
important. Sometimes it goes into even other areas, probably even in terms of career choice and stuff like that. You really have to
Like,
find yourself even when you're as one. I would say
That's
the
so
two become
powerful.
one.
That-
You have
That's so
to
good.
become yourself. Because remember, your young adult years are when you have a big life experience. No, you grew up in a fairly decent home. Your parents shielded you from certain things. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that is one of the things I'd tell you that I would encourage every young person, find yourself. Find yourself first in Christ. Because what some women do, they get consumed with the husband, and the husband is them idol.
thank God.
That's not healthy. Find
Yeah.
yourself in Christ first, and then begin to form who you are and growing with the person too, growing with the person.
Yeah.
Let them become the best version of themselves as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and
that was really good, Jubu. I not lie. Good
yeah,
point.
and it's true. Because if you don't know who you are, then you won't know what you bring to the table. And the beauty of marriage, the beauty of marriage is the two coming together. So if I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and usually, let me tell you something. You see, God, I've never seen a couple that does not have what the other person needs. It's always, whatever my weakness is probably his strength. And if you don't come in knowing what you bring to the table, you'll try to become the other person or try to make the other person like you, and you miss out, because together is when you're the most powerful, the most like there's nothing that you can do together when you come with your strengths, when you come knowing who you are, when you come being aware of your weaknesses and allowing the other person to step in and shine when it's that moment where, all right, this is your strong suit. But if you try to become this perfect person that you think the person needs, instead of being who God made you in order to pull them into their best self, and vice versa, you miss
You're gonna
out.
get frustrated.
You miss
You're gonna
out
get
trying
frustrated.
to become the other person's wife because them look like they're so great, but that's not what your husband needs. That's not
Yeah.
what your wife needs.
Yep. Very, very true. I agree with you 100%, Keishan. You get to 40 and then you start to have all these regrets. But me did do that for them. Me did do that. Look how me cute my life. If you make that choice, then you made that choice. You understand? And there was a video circulating this week, and what the lady said, it can be extended to any relationship, really. When you decide, I'm going to give myself to this person. As Living Fan said, when we started out, and he was the one earning, not no whole heap of money. I think at the time your pay was like, what, 30,000 a month?
See there?
No.
Listen, now they make more money. It was
Less than that.
No, less. It was less. No less.
Less than
But
that.
to be honestly, guys, he gave that to me. He really made sure that all my needs were taken care of. And yet he's not resentful for it, because he knows himself and he's comfortable with the fact that he made that decision. He never feel like he did have to give me. He knew that this is what he wanted to do, but from his own place of maturity and knowing exactly who he was. So it's so important. I've spoken to so many young women and women who are married, and they just lose themselves. It's like they lose themselves. They don't know what they like from what they don't like. Everything is consumed with the husband, the children, and then they start to feel irritated. They start to feel like, they are not being loved. When the truth is, you never ever put that on the table to say, this is me. This is what I would want. This is what I would like as well. Sharing this experience with me, sharing in that experience, always behind the person. We really have to be careful, And
some people are in situations, though, that they are expected to be somebody else. Because their spouse married them, expecting them to become whatever thing they conjured up in their mind based on what their parents were in marriage and based on what the best friend's marriage looks like. And if you're coming into marriage like that, you're going to miss out. It's going to be very just bad and sad. Like
Bad,
if
sad. Bad, man.
if both persons aren't coming in with the mindset that two are better than one and that you bring something to the table that I need and I have something that you need, it's just not going to work.
And I know it's like a broken record, but just to me go back to mutual respect. Because if you come to a place where you have such great for your spouse, you will want them to, well, you already see who they are and you love what you see and you won't be trying to make them into whatever. And I think our marriage could have easily become focused around one personality. Because I had the whole church thing going and preaching and all of that.
He was a celebrity in his own right,
I wouldn't say it like that. But,
yeah.
I kind of was already knowing where my life was taking me. But because of Keisha's gift and talent as well, and as she growing that, she's becoming more and more of an expert in her own thing. And so I remember being a part of a program and people like, oh, yeah, man, this is Keisha's husband. And I'm like, I saw Keisha feel and everybody said, come on, wife, cause
doesn't bother me. I mean,
like it catch me off guard, and you realize that if your marriage is centered around one person, the other person will feel
They diminish, they wither away.
that, and so you have to. So I loved who she was. It was my pleasure to go to well, I hate going to certain fabric stores, but to go to some. It's my pleasure to support as much as I can, as long as she gives me clear directives what she wants. I'm good to get the fabric and whatever. But as you look at it, it's because of my respect for her, and I don't want her to lose that. And I think it's the same for her with me. But a lot of couples don't have that. It's about, so the woman is the big CEO. So I got married to somebody with her masters and the big executive in so and so. I got married to a medical doctor. So as much as she has said, oh, I love you. My life is to make sure she work long hours. This, I have to do X, Y, Z. And it is just completely around one person. Or in our context, in the church world, the pastor or the preacher or the whatever, it's completely around making sure the man of God is good and him just preach it. And it's about dressing so the man of God and how where you sit and what you say. You can't yawn at the man of God service, it don't look good. So don't you yawn under scrutiny, right? And you have to come out, you have to follow him everywhere you go. And like, I work a full-time job, I can't go out every night to preach. When him preach, oh no, you have. That's where the pressure comes and where both persons need to value the person without the person yet being involved in what they.
Yeah, I think self-awareness is very important. Jubilee said it. Because the truth is, there are times and situations where you realize that, hey, I married an extrovert. I'm an introvert. I prefer to be in the background, and that's okay. A lot of people feel like I need to be up front more and whatever. And support looks like standing beside your husband or sitting up front. But that's not what he needs. And if I didn't know who I was, I could have gotten caught up in what people feel like a pastor's wife should be and how I am. And I need to be more outgoing. But I find my strength in actually not doing all of the fuss and being up there or being the outspoken one. Of course, if you catch me in my little circle, I am outspoken and whatever, but I am naturally not the person that wants to be up front or wants the excitement. And the fact is, because Kavan is the type of person who loves to talk and is very expressive, it works so well because I will sit and listen to him for hours and not feel resentful because him just a talk.
Except
And,
when we said the story,
you know?
somebody tell me that like, so me I tell you again, me I tell you again that it's relevant. No, but you see for
So
me,
it's okay to know what you're comfortable with, who you are, and own it because that helps in the Lord.
you know, for me, I'm not trying. I don't want Keisha to be a pastor's wife. I want her to be herself. I never fall in love with a pastor's wife. I fell in love with Keisha.
No, but
And so I
what is
wanted-
a pastor's wife supposed to
I mean,
be?
people
No,
have
a pastor's
different-
wife is the person
different-
who married the pastor.
Yeah, but
and every
different
pastor
people-
needs different things. Just that
Exactly.
we made
Exactly.
the church and other people tell us what we should look like and how we should behave.
But I want to tie it in though to marrying young because I think you have the opportunity to yes be an individual, but to mature within the context of the marriage. And so yes, I know who I am, but I am maturing within the context of
Yeah, because I know you and what you need.
yeah, and what we need to survive. So love concert and them thing there, but because we have three picnic and life and Ray and my can it don't change the fact that I love it and I look for an opportunity, but I don't go as much. So I'm becoming and I realize how I have to focus. I wrote a book, but in order to write that book, it meant that I have to cut down on some other things, because I still have to be a father, I still have to be a husband. So it helped me pick what is important and grow more and it push you. And so by the time you hit 40, you kind of have a good sense of who you are, grow into maturity. You kind of cut out things that are irrelevant that you probably would. I mean, it's a good while from now. Many years later, when you reach 40, you would have matured faster. And I think that's what marrying young affords you. If you have the right mindset to become a better version of yourself even quicker, because you are doing it together and you have to learn to be selfless. You have to learn to work with someone. Yeah, the worst when you have children in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. You have to learn.
Let's talk about that. When children came into the mix early.
How soon before you guys got children?
We would have been married, about 3 years at the time when I conceived with Truth, because the aim was to finish medical school, but God had a different plan. Oh, no jokes, 9 months to the date or the week period where I'd have done my final exam, my exit exams for medical school, I got pregnant.
Wow.
Put on my app, I calculated it, I realized the date fell in the middle of the exam period. Went to my dean, told him, he said, okay, you'll be doing exam 6 months' time. I said, all right, Jesus, thank you, Lord. And I just went on with my life. You know what I mean? Funny, and I don't want, there is a joy in prepare you.
Yeah.
When I got pregnant, I said, do you remember months ago when you said you would mind sitting exams with the November batch? I said that. I said, yeah. And they thought I was crazy for saying it. But it's like, it's almost like God was preparing me emotionally. I don't know what was going through my head space, but it's like him did that. It's weird because they had to remind me of it. And the only thing I could chalk up to was, guys, there was a disquiet in my spirit. So even the amount of picnic I have, God must give some guidance. When my second child was doing a little gardening, I feel nauseous and I think I'm pregnant again. His response was, why do you believe me? Why you can't tell me that because it would be funny? I said, hello, sir. I said, last time we checked, everything was consensual between the two of us. Nobody has ever been raped because the way I said, I like me alone. And so when I got pregnant with the third child, it's like I got the Holy Spirit comfort to saying, all right, that's it now. And I think God's grace came to us in that period because we were just walking with the Holy Spirit. And apart from the third one, the others were, well spaced and stuff. And so he just kind of gave us that grace to walk through it. You know what I mean? And all of our experiences being married for so long and coming up, grazing them now because we have matured together. Understand together, there's a synergy in our parenting. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but we're getting it. We're not perfect. We're far from perfect, but we're getting it. So that's what I would say.
Can definitely relate.
Listen, when I've not got through the stories, we're there all night.
Yeah. Do you see what you said about I know this feeling? Girl.
Remember, you're my big brother. I'm walking in your footsteps.
Well, you can't win the race here. If you want more, you can't win. I give you permission to win, bro.
We've reached the finish line, man.
Yes, we reach the finish
it's
line.
either we tie or you winning, but we're not further go.
And just catch up on the last one. That's why it had to happen so close, Jubilee. Because I think both the third one for both of us are around the same age.
Yes, they are. They are around the same age. Yeah. And they almost share the same name, interestingly.
See?
They almost did. I see. It was Judah is her name, right?
Yeah.
Their last child. We tied with the name Judah as our first name. And then the Saint Lord will say no, but Judah is Malachi's middle name. So when I saw you guys say that your third child's name was Judah, I was like, yes, great minds think alike.
You can live by years.
Yeah.
Awesome. Listen, I want us to do the part called Spill the Love. That you guys get to say one thing about your spouse that you absolutely love. So, I know there are many things, but you have to narrow it down to one. I can tell you what I love about Livingston. That's easy for me.
Food, right?
The man is a heaven of a chef. That, but anyways, it's not me. Jubilee, Livingston, take it away. Spill the love.
You go first.
Okay. All right. So, Livingston, what I love about you is that you have been so patient with me. You understand my weakness in terms of when I get angry.
Hold on.
No, I'm in my
It's an extra, man. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And I'm really grateful to the Lord that you're patient with me in those times.
All right. My turn. What I love about you, you're a fantastic woman. And you are goal-getting. You know what you want in life. And you seek and work hard to achieve your dreams and just a hard-working woman. And I really appreciate that. I really love it.
Thank you.
I love doing Spill the Love. I feel like I help the couples get ready for the night. I feel like, help you score points.
Except for when the children mash up the plans, right?
I did my best. That's all I
You played your part.
Yeah, I played my part. The rest is not all of figure out. That's lovely though, guys. So we try as best as we can to not repeat.
Well, you alone are trying not to
We
repeat.
try.
I'm like,
Yeah.
just going with the flow.
You know, Livingston me a tea for yourself because it's true. It's true, so me a tea for it. I'm really happy that I found someone who gets me, who knows me, who understands me. No one Livingston, the Juby said, but Livingston, yes. And I said the same thing she said, who knows my weaknesses, understand, you know, the ins and outs of how I think, pivots with my changes that are many. I have so many interests. Yeah, I mean, I have so many interests. You know, it's true. My interests change every minute, and I'm as passionate about the new one as I was with the old one. And
Yeah.
Keisha is right there with me, listening to me give my whole life to something for half hour and then switch to the next. I appreciate that about you, and that you really, really, really make me feel, for the most part, understood.
For the most.
This morning,
The man cannot tell me lie in the presence of the Lord. The man is being honest.
I'm picking on her because this one like, you know, and they don't understand me. You don't. So, you know, I just said that for the most part.
Yeah. This morning, like, that was just, it
Fun.
was bickering about nothing at all. I'm like, why are we still having this conversation? It don't make no sense, you know. But what I love, I love who he is. I love who you are. I just love the person that he is. Holistically, I can honestly say that when I assess and I know all sides of him, everything about him, even his blind spots, even the blind spots that when you said to him not ready to admit yet. So you know. And I always come to the conclusion that he is just a wonderful person all around because yeah, it's easy to love him. I love who he is as a person.
And I'm so happy I have this on camera. Thank you so much for that. Listen, guys, is there anything that you guys want to, you know, just slide into the convo, getting married young? Anything that you want to add before we wrap up?
All right, I'll say my last statement for the night, and I guess this one will probably just say one or so. For me, it's to encourage persons who, speaking to the ones considering getting married young or getting married at an older age, make Christ the center. It sounds cliche, but it's the only truth. Christ has to be number one. When we were courting, we prayed almost every day via phone, or if we were meeting together, almost every day we were praying. And so, you know, it's like that glue that brought us together. And even though we may not be able to have our devotional time together as often, Christ always remains first. Every major decision, what Christ wants, because we started there looking to him, not consumed with each other only, but looking to him. So I tell every couple that, starting out, look upwards.
My small piece, for the man them who are, you know, you have a interest in a little lady, yes, alright then boom, you go make her your wife and thing. Real man get married. Commitment. Real man get married. Anybody can have girlfriend. Anybody can have baby mother. Anybody can have side chick. But you take a real man of a wife. Bible.
Well, excellently, immaculately said. No, I love it. I love it. And I love that Livingston. Real men get married. I love it. I love it. Guys, if do you have any way, if and we have anyone that watch this want to connect with you guys, how can they connect? And do you have any other venture that you want to share about? And also, now you guys pastor our church. If somebody want to come to church and let them pastor a really article and them just want to go to them church, how can they do that as well? No, I don't believe that supernatural. So I say, she has got to show the muted mic and we got you.
Let me start with the last question first. So we attend Kairos Network. If anybody wants to connect with our church, he can go to the website. Senior pastor is Pastor Helen Brown. And you can head to the website. You're able to contact us through the website. Once you leave a comment or send an email, you will get a response. In terms of Kairos Network Jamaica.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You should
see Cairos.
Kairos Network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I knew that. It was a K. I was yeah.
Jamaica.
Yes, Kairos Network Jamaica.
.com.
I think it's
.com or
.org.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right.
.org.
Yeah. It's Kairos Network.org. No Jamaica. Kairos Network.org. So you can connect with us via there or via that platform.
Or Instagram.
Or Instagram. We're on all the social media. Well, not all. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We're also on YouTube. Kairos Network.
So I'm chef _service.
That's Instagram. That's your individual.
And if you want
he does private catering, so you can contact him
so
through
if you want food
IG.
and if you want any cooking out and then there's a party or whatever, you can always contact me.
For all the foodie people that just love to follow people who put nice food and them stuff and you just let it and you feel bad about your life, so you don't have this right now and then want to top your head. Chef Service is the man to follow. He does amazing work. I love it, and I'm planning how to get my hands on some soon.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just Chef Service, right?
Yeah, Chef _service. Yeah.
Underscore. Okay, and again, as Julie said, he does private caterings, and may I tell you, he's good. He's that good. And we are in the bridal industry, so I know you'll have your wedding, you want a great caterer. Look no further. Let's check out him page.
Yep.
Right? And him actually work with one of the bougiest establishments in the country. So you know him food bougie. Right? Said it at the AC Marriott. Right? So, all him do is bougie food all day. So if you want the bougiest thing, Chef Service. Guys, I really, really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for sharing your own story and your wisdom. You guys are just full of the word, full of the wisdom. We appreciate you guys. And thanks to everyone for tuning in again. And we ask that you like, subscribe. Also, if you know somebody who, and we know it happens a lot, it happened to each of us. When we were getting married, people want to for liquid air, they forgot mad. And so if you know somebody who wants to get married, but they are young and they want to know what will it take, share this with them, send them the link, so that they can be a part of the discussion and learn from us on the topic.
And thank you so much to Keneal Allen who makes the live
Dreams the life and
possible every week. I don't know, I lost that word. Yeah. Thank you so much, Keneal.
And makes it stand out and make it a little spill the tea thing and all them excitement they were going and whatever. Yes, man.
Yes.
Good job. I have to big up Mijan as well for her role in making spill the tea possible.
Our producer.
Yes. So guys, thank you again. We have to have you guys back. I'm sure we will. So hopefully we can get the time aligned. And
Jubilee want to talk to you off here.
Yes, girl. Definitely. We need to connect for true, Keisha.
Yeah.
If the season for it, finish with the babies, we're getting
I
getting
thought
more
along that
mature.
line, finish with the babies thing.
Yeah.
I will talk if Livingston promise to put me through. That's all, man.
Go ahead, stop it. Don't.
I will.
Stop it.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a great evening. Thank you
Yes.
for being a part of Spill with Tea.
All right. Take
All
care.
right,
Good
take
night.
care.